video, I'm gonna share with you 7 foundational setups that I have for local dev environment. First thing first, I'm gonna install web browsers, which are Brave and Chrome. Next, I'm gonna install terminal, and my favorite terminal is iTerm 2. Next, another tool that I cannot live without is Windows Manager. In macOS, we don't have the native Windows managers, and my favorite application for managing Windows is Rectangle. Next is another tool that I cannot live without is a package manager, Homebrew. And my favorite text editors are NeoVim and Sublime Text 4. IDE, of course, is VS Code. And last but not least, I'm gonna install Docker using Docker Desktop. So let's get started, shall we? So number 1, web browsers. I'm going to install Brave and Chrome, my favorite web browsers. Let's go to Google and search for Google Chrome. And then we follow the link to go to the download page. Click. Then we're gonna install Google Chrome. And I'm gonna use Google Chrome to search for Brave browsers. Brave is a free and open source web browser developed with privacy in mind. It's gonna block ads and it's gonna help loading web pages faster. So similarly, we're going to install Brave browser. For convenience, I'm gonna keep both browsers on the dock so I can access them quickly. I'm going to set Brave as my default browser as a replacement for Safari. I'm going to hide the rewards as well as the talk so that the browser is gonna be cleaner. Next, I'm going to download iTerm 2, my favorite terminal. So we go to the download page. The current stable version is version 3.5.5. I'm going to download it. Just simply dragging it to applications to install it. So now I have my favorite terminals running. So iTerm 2 use Python underneath. So the first time when you run it, it's gonna ask you to install some tools that required by pip3, which is a package manager for Python. So just click install to install it. Next one, I'm going to install Rectangle, which is my favorite Windows manager for macOS. macOS doesn't have a native Windows manager, so Rectangle gonna help me to optimize my workflow a lot by keeping all the windows organized and aligned. So we go to rectangleapps.com and follow the link to download. For the Rectangle app, to control the windows in macOS, you have to enable and grant it access to manage the windows. By going to System Setting, under Privacy and Security, we need to enable the access for Rectangle. I'm gonna go with the default recommended shortcut. So in Rectangle, we're gonna manage the windows by using shortcut. So here's a list of shortcuts that are defined by Rectangle. So let's try some of them. So go to the left, go to the right. Can maximize the window. I can center the window. Make it to half top, half bottom. Can make the window bigger, or can make the window smaller. So let's move on to the next one, which is a package manager. Homeproof is my favorite package manager for macOS. So to install Homeproof, we just simply copy a script and run it in the terminal. So depends on the shell that you use. In my case, I have Z shell installed in on the latest macOS or MacBook. You're gonna have Z shell as a default shell. But in case you have a different shell, you have to configure, for example, bash. You have to configure corresponding bash profile. But in this case, I'm gonna configure the Z profile for Z shell in order to have Homeproof integrated. So Homeproof show you a few statements that you had to put into Z profile file. I'm going to do that. Z profile file doesn't exist, so I'm gonna create it first, and then I'm going to copy that line into the Z profile, and at the end I'm going to restore item so that it has a effect. To verify, I'm gonna run proof help. It's gonna show the help for proof usage. And next, I'm gonna install NeoVim, my favorite text editor, using HomeProof. In order to do that, you just simply run proof install NeoVim. Let's verify that. Okay, so now I have NeoVim running. Another text editor that I often use is Sublime Text, so I'm going to install that as well. Look like there's a new version, Sublime Text 4, so I'm going to use the latest version. So just simply follow the link and download the latest version. Next, we're gonna move on to install IDE, and one of the favorite IDE that I often use is VS Code, which is free and open source IDE. And finally, I'm going to install Docker. Docker is very convenient for running services locally for development purpose. And I'm gonna go with a Docker Desktop. For individual users, Docker Desktop is free as well. I'm going with the recommended settings. So for the first time when you run Docker or Docker desktop app, it's gonna ask you to install a couple of things. Just click install, and also it's gonna ask you to log in. Here you can log in with Docker Hub accounts or Google or GitHub accounts. If you don't have an existing account to use, you need to register for that. I would recommend to register for a Docker Hub account. So you can access Docker images in Docker Hub. So the default resource allocation settings is okay for my use case for now. We can always come back to adjust that if needed. To verify the Docker installation, I'm going to create a very simple Docker image, build it and deploy it. So this Docker image is just simply running a echo command to say hello from Docker. Now I'm going to build the Docker image, giving it a name, my test image. And then now we're gonna deploy the container using this new image that I just created. So that is it. Those are 7 foundational setups that I have for local dev. I hope that is gonna be helpful for someone out there. So thanks for watching. Until next time.